When working nights, you're probably familiar with physically leaving your home and going into your office environment, whatever that may be. But what happens when you're asked to work night shift from home? It is a totally different ballgame. I want to walk you through my very best tips in how you can stay healthy when working nights from home, despite facing so many unhealthy temptations. It will probably come as no surprise, but the first step to prepare for this special, unique night shift is the preparation phase. We need to prepare for this night like we would any other. A couple of days before we start, think about staggering that sleep. Push your bedtime out later and later until you're almost mimicking what it's like to work this night from home. If you don't have the luxury of those couple of days because you might be a rotational shift worker, the night before you start your night shift, just have a really late bedtime and try to sleep in for as long as you can. When you get up, or the day that you actually start your night, do some exercise and go nuts cleaning the house. If you're anything like me, you're going to have no interest in cleaning the house when you're working nights, and that includes when you're doing it from home. You're going to be spending a lot of time at home. You're not going into the office. So make the environment that you're working in a place that you actually want to be in, that's clean, it's not cluttered, and allows you to work properly. After going on this cleaning frenzy, you're going to be really tired, and that is exactly what we want. One of the most important phases of this preparation section is to rest and to nap. We need to prepare our body to be up all night. This is going to look different for everyone. It could be watching an hour of Netflix on the couch, or it could actually be taking a 20-minute to a 2-hour nap. Work out what this phase looks like for you and do not skip it. The last part of your preparation period is talking to people who you live with. It might be really weird that you're actually awake all night in your own home and then sleeping during the day. We need to give your housemates, your family, time to change their schedule to allow you to sleep so you don't get mad when they're making a lot of noise in the middle of the day. Talk to those you live with and work out a plan. Despite having endless amounts of caffeine available in your home, it doesn't mean you have to drink it all, even though you're really tired. I guess my same boring caffeine rules apply, that you shouldn't be having this stuff within 6 hours of going to sleep. If caffeine doesn't affect your sleep, then I guess go for your life. But for most of us, caffeine does affect our quality of sleep, which is super important, particularly when we're working nights. So if your night shift at home is supposed to finish at 8 o'clock in the morning, then you need to stop drinking caffeine at around 2 a.m. and we need to switch to something else. Chamomile tea, coconut water, even super green tonic green juice is my absolute go-to. Whilst talking about caffeine and trying to get that hit when you're working nights from home, I personally went to Coke. Oh, I love Coke Zero. However, overnight, it didn't work that well for me. I think it's because it's carbonated and those bubbles just sat in my belly all night because I wasn't walking around as much as what I would at the hospital. So take it from me, just be really cautious with drinking anything carbonated, particularly if you're going to have it with a straw, because all that air just gets stuck in your belly. One really important thing for me when I was working nights from home was to use my breaks. Even though you don't have your manager telling you to have a break, set an alarm that tells you to physically get up from where you are and to do something else. Now, I know it might not be practical to actually walk around the block at night because it's pitch black, but can you do 10 sit-ups? Can you do 20 squats? Just get yourself away from your screen and allow your eyes to concentrate on something else. This is really important because your eyes will start to get really fatigued and you'll probably get headaches. So just step away and use your breaks. One of the weirdest parts though in taking a break is you're doing it alone. There's nobody else awake. So a colleague and I, we scheduled a break together because he was also on nights, and we chatted. We chatted at 2 a.m. about absolutely nothing, but it kept us both focused and awake. So is there someone that you know who's also on nights at the same schedule as you? Now we need to talk about food, my favorite topic. At home, when you're working nights, there is so much food in this house, and it is a trap. You're drawn to all sorts of things, which I tell you all not to eat overnight. But because it's all there and no one's watching, you feel like you can eat it. However, I want to remind you that overnight, when the sun is not shining and the moon is up, our digestive system is sleeping. It is having a rest. So whatever we are eating overnight is going to take a really long time to be digested. And while that process is happening, you're probably likely going to feel bloated, maybe nauseated, and really uncomfortable. So my tip here is, when you eat overnight, continue to eat like you would if you were in the office. Snacks are what we should be going for, bite-sized things. I personally, what worked really well for me just last week was a toasted Vegemite and cheese sandwich. Now, any non-Australian person watching this is probably saying that's disgusting. So work out whatever meal suits you, but just don't go overboard with the meals. It's likely though that you are going to crave some sort of sugar overnight. My recommendation here is to have something ready in the cupboard that you can go to, and you're not forced to leave the house to go to a 24-hour gas station to get yourself a little sweet treat. Me, for example, like to have some sort of dark chocolate in the cupboard. It's much better for my belly. I don't get bloated when I have this, and I find I don't need very much because it's bitter, but it does enough to satisfy my sugar craving at 3 a.m. If you did accidentally eat the wrong food, or you did go a little bit overboard, what's great about working night shift at home is you're able to heat up your heat pack in the microwave and just rest it on your belly while working. And that really helps take away the pain and discomfort. I used this probably too many times. Now, I've given some good tips throughout this video, but my absolute favorite tip is to wear blue light blocking glasses. Now, when you're actually working, I slide on these sort of swannies, which you'll see slightly yellow lenses. These really stop the eye strain and the headaches that I get from staring at a screen too long. I wear these for my entire shift, and then when I've got about an hour to go, I switch over to these ones. So these are a little bit more severe and basically just block out more blue light than what these ones do. I think wearing these at the end of my shift when I'm at home really helps start that wind down process and allow that melatonin to start to do its thing. So then when I do have some breakfast, maybe some oats, that they're high in melatonin, I have some oats, I have a shower, pop these glasses back on and just go into bed. I find that I'm able to fall asleep a lot quicker because I've worn these glasses. So I'll leave links to my favorite ones below. And I really highly encourage you to check them out. In between nights, I've got a couple of tips for you. First of all, try and get 7 to 9 hours sleep. Now, I know some of you will go, that is impossible. I can't get that many hours. I think we just need to aim high and we see what we get. Remember, we can break up our sleep into different segments if sleeping for 7 hours in a row is impossible. Secondly, get out of your house where you can. Like I said, we're spending a lot of time in here, and I don't think it's healthy breathing the same air all the time. So pop on your sneakers, take your dog for a walk, meet your friend at the local cafe. I don't really care what you do, but just break up your routine. Breathe in some fresh air when you're outside and get some vitamin D to hit that skin of yours. And number 3, if you are working multiple night shifts in a row, I highly recommend you watch this video next. I've got so many more great tips for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next shift.